Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unfuck Your Mind. I'm your host, Zach Lyotis. And in today's podcast, we have Anna Loza. She's a sensual soul liberator leading humans into divine purpose and leadership. She left a prestigious job in a research laboratory to move to the mountains, shave her head, and travel around the continent, soaking in hot springs and praying in the desert. She now regularly teaches the art of the Yoni wand, sovereign living, and sensual life design. Her vision is to see you living the big purpose which your soul is calling you into, while having a magnificent time all along the way. Anna, thank you for being on the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much, Zach. Wow, that bio, it's like, is that me? Is that what I get to do? Amazing.
I know. You know, the best part that I love about it is that you went and shaved your head and lived in the mountains and literally prayed in the desert. Bring us back to that point, because that's where I want to start. I feel like that's where your journey really started. So bring us back there.
Yeah. So, I had a girlfriend who planted this seed in me. And she said, every woman needs to shave her hair at least once in her lifetime just to experience what it's like to walk in the world as a woman without hair, because it's such a symbol of femininity and just, she just popped that when we were at an ecstatic dance or a gathering. She just said that. And I guess I percolated with that. And then a couple months down the road, I woke up one morning and I just said, this is it. It's time. And I was living in Colorado at the time. And I just took my partner at the time. He had a razor to shave his head, like an electric razor. And I just went in front of the mirror and I started, taking off locks of hair. And it was so hilarious. The experience was so funny because I went through all these stages of seeing myself with just, a patch of hair here and there and then removing it fully. And for the next week or two, every time I saw my reflection, I would just laugh. And I had no idea what my experience would be like once I did that. And thankfully, actually, it was super fun. It engendered a lot of incredible conversations, a lot of really confusing conversations for people of why did I do that? What happened? So, and you're right to say that my journey started at that point, because for a part of my journey, I feel like I've lived many lifetimes in this one lifetime. And that was a particular node of an adventure, because a couple days after I did that, I was going to do a yoga teacher training in California. And that was going to be the first time I went to California. As soon as I landed there and I saw these big rosemary bushes and hummingbirds coming up to all the flowers, and felt my body be so empowered, like I felt my strength again during the yoga teacher training, I called up my partner at the time and I said, I'm not coming back. I'm staying in California.
Surprise, surprise, newsflash, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you say you shaved your head. I think it was a couple of days ago, because I'm growing in my grays, because I really want to harness the wise woman that's within my being. And all of a sudden I heard shave your head. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because you can't go back. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't. Once you put that through your head once, you just can't go back now. Like, you have to complete it. So that's such an empowering. But I also would feel like, did you feel liberating when you just let it all go too?
When I shaved the hair off?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, the sensation was incredible because I felt like somebody had put peppermint essential oil all over my scalp. I didn't realize how much the hair even holds just being here. So it's like a restart, right? And I could restart and all the memories, right, all along the hair strand, we could see like, 3 years ago, this pair was here. What was happening 3 years ago, etc. It's a marvelous restart, and I actually continued to keep it really shaved for several months after that.
Oh, wow.
It grows quite quickly once you let it start to grow. And since then, I actually haven't gotten too many haircuts either. I haven't done like the whole go for a maintenance haircut. I've just let it be wild since then.
I love it. I love that. That's truly who I feel that we were brought here to be, just us, authentically us, like no restrictions, no boundaries, no nothing. It's just like, that's the freeness of everything. I know when I was going through some situations, the first thing I heard Spirit say to me was, cut your hair, because we do hold a lot of energy in our hair. Or, I had fairy looking hair, I had witchy looking hair, I had all sorts of different colors in my hair. But now all of a sudden I was going to go back to the salon and they said, no, you're staying gray. And I went, all right, this is fantastic. I honor this. Like, even when I dry my hair and I see the gray, I'm like, the wise woman is embarking in the world and she's free. But, living in Canada, it's cold here. So, shaving my head, I don't think is a good thing. I'm already cold. This is like my security. It's like my mane. It's my blanket that protects me from the cold more than anything. So how did you, going through that process and then finding yourself soaking in the hot springs, praying in the desert, what is it that you recognized about yourself? What were some of the attributes that really came up first and foremost? Like, as I'm saying this, I could feel this relief. So bring us to that point.
Mm-hmm. Well, great question. So once I landed in California, I started a 3-year process approximately of just living out of my car. So kind of a classic California hippie journey, not even a decked out, van for sleeping. I would just have a sleeping bag and I would be even sometimes in the passenger seat, just sleeping. So it was really interesting because I got to position myself. I got to choose exactly how and where I slept every night. Mm-hmm. So I would find the most incredible locations where, first of all, I could see stars. And then when I woke up, I could go down to the river and immerse in the river again with hummingbirds all around me. It's miraculous. When I speak about it now, I even have a hard time realizing that this was, material reality that was happening around me. And what I discovered was that we get to choose. We get to absolutely choose. And so I must presence, was my family or my past friends that I had left behind, did they understand what I was doing? No. Did they support what I was doing? No. So this is part of what I bring to people, this unplugging from collective consciousness, from these ideas that, is it okay to live without an address or whatever it means for you? You don't have to go so extreme as shaving your head and living in a car and, going to the river every morning. That was my joy and my bliss. So what I speak to people about now is, well, what's your bliss and how could we turn up your energy in your body, release the programs from your mind that keep you saying, well, no, not yet. Well, maybe next year. Well, I don't know if I can. All of that so that you can live the most incredible, magnificent life, because we're here every day finishes and that's it. So what happens next, And that was a big learning experience for me to have those couple of years like that. Right now I'm in a much different living situation, again, completely by choice. So it's like you get to design your curriculum in this life. You get to really do you, and my passion is to completely cheer one on in doing that. And if there's any hesitation or any fears or any blocks, that's where I come, and I love to facilitate people into their soul essence.
So beautiful. What do you find the greatest blocks are right now for people? I know because the energy is very potent. Like, 2019, it's fire. And it's fast fire. Like, you're in it, you better start surfing those waves, because let me tell you, it's something that's going to take you to the next level. But what do you find are the most blocks that people are holding on to these days?
Well, it's funny because it's like these days, and these things are so ancient or so pervasive that maybe they're just coming to light more these days and more people are waking up to this. Usually every single client that I work with, we go back into those classic childhood programs, right? So we got to go to the root. We got to go to our ancestry. We got to see what got put into our mind as instructions. So that's one category. To be more specific, how it manifests in the adult life And what I had to untangle and continuously untangle within myself is money mindset. That's a huge one because so many women especially want to live big and go get away from this place of, well, I'm just getting by on just enough, and am I going to pay rent next month? Am I going to make it? Well, at the same time, the soul and the heart and the spirit wants to have this life of freedom and of bliss, and those two things just don't go together. So one of the things that so consistently comes up is, especially in spiritual heart-based women, is the need to realize that it's okay to be paid for your soul's work, especially when it's healing, when it's coaching, when it's service-based facilitation, that's all right. Even that concept isn't always okay for many people. And then once that ball gets rolling, the next kind of block or sabotage pattern is overwhelm, because someone wants to start into a soulful career track. It's common for women especially to start to do it in this very masculine push through way. So people kind of think that they have to do XYZ and they can't get by without ABC. So dismantling that and letting you and your soul and your essence that we spoke of before be the leader in the compass, no matter if it's what you choose to do today, what you choose to do in your business, where you choose to travel. And, you know, from us speaking before we started recording, Zach, I see that you are so in tune with that. Oh, I was told this, I'm doing this now, right? So cultivating that.
Yeah, I think it's important. And I think the whole money thing is so voodoo, especially in the spiritual realm. It's like, how do you not find worthiness in your spirit to be abundant, right? And we want to feel like we give everything for free. I've been down that road, so I could talk about it. And that's why speaking to women and activating women to really get into their power, you know, the universe didn't put you on this earth to be broke and miserable. The universe put you in this world so that you could see the beauty, that you could smell the flowers, so that you have bliss. So I get that. And you regularly teach the art of Yoni. I want to go there because our Yoni does have power. I call it pussy power, straight up, like vajayjay power. My pum pum has a name, so I'm not going to use it on regular here, but I named her, and because she's named, I have conversations with her, and that's cool because, you know, she guides me and directs me and tells me things, and she tells me some interesting things, and it's funny, but when we are blocked in our Yoni, we are blocked in so many other ways. Bring the Yoni to life, please. Bring that pum pum, pussy, vajayjay, whatever you want to call it. Bring that to life for women, because women need to recognize that sex isn't bad, masturbation isn't bad, thinking about it isn't bad, being a dirty, thoughtful woman in bed, and, you know, just being a freak, just letting it all go. I know this is programming from childhood, and this is programming, maybe you went through something devastating. My heart goes out to those that have gone through devastation, but bring the power to the Yoni or the pum pum. I'm giving that to you. That's your specialty.
Well, so that's so yes to all of that. And the way that I love to approach it, for starters, is within the woman, within the person themselves. So I call it sensuality, so that all the kind of associations we have with sexuality don't really get triggered so quickly. So I speak of sensuality. I love what you said about asking your Yoni, your pussy, for advice. Because this is really us coming back to understanding that within every human, and I'm going to speak to women, I live in a female body, so I speak from that experience. When we inquire with an energy center, which is what the Yoni is, right? It's right there with the first and the second chakra. It's a massive energy center. When we inquire with it, I call it Yoni whispering. So this is something that blows people's minds on the regular, is just put your hands there, take a couple deep breaths, and ask even something as simple as, what do I need to know right now? What's my next step? And we're literally directing our consciousness to the Yoni, the pussy, the womb. And people are surprised at, like, whoa, the answer came from inside of me. I didn't go to this higher power or a psychic or a facilitator or a coach. I didn't need that. I actually got that answer from within me. That's mind-boggling to a lot of us who love to reach out for facilitation from another. And of course, I love to facilitate others. And what I really see that I do is I see that you have the answers. So let's get you in touch with that, right? Yeah. So let me see. Something else is that about awakening that power. So many of us, especially in the New Age spiritual community, we focus on kind of the top chakras. It's like, oh, I'm channeling, I have these visions, and that's incredible, and I should reach for more of that. And some of the heaviest karma lives in the lower chakras. And so many of us are petrified, for good reason. It's hard, it's challenging work to dig into that. So I speak of the yoni as, if you imagine it as this opening that's literally facing the earth. It's an opening looking at the earth. Earth energy can come in to our central channel through the yoni and move up to the heart, to the throat, to all these upper chakras. Yeah. When that tightens, because we have felt unsafe in our life, it's like blocks the flow of this innate energy that we can receive from this planet, the energy that is so intrinsic to our embodiment. Yes, we are spirits in the sacred technology of this body vehicle. Mm-hmm. And when we've been wronged or hurt or confused in some way, especially during childhood, to some extent that lower chakra closes up because we don't feel safe to be alive anymore. We don't feel that, yes, logically, we know we can have a lot of things we want in life, though that's not the evidence that we've seen. No matter how much we want it, it's not coming to us. So, hey, it's true. I can't have money and I can't live on my own terms and people are mean. And so all of these things, we get to go in there, unwind it. One of the ways that I do this is by assigning the homework of the Yoni wand. And this is a crystal. It's, I usually use jade or obsidian. So basically it's a crystal dildo. Yeah. And what we're doing is so I will take this and I will very gently, very lovingly, first of all, inquire with my pussy if right now is even the right time to insert anything into myself. Because so often we've just been conditioned to kind of like, hey, yeah, here's my body, like, let's do it. Let's like have another person enter me to get love or to get attention or to be good or to be loved. Well, this is a whole reprogramming. Now we're taking this healing crystal energy into our own hands and we're inserting this in order to palpate. First, like in the first couple sessions that one has with themselves, it's not primarily about pleasure. It's about finding the places within that, oh, that's actually painful. Oh, this is numb. I don't even feel I know I'm moving it there, but I don't feel anything. Oh, okay, this is kind of neutral. So finding these places that have, that over time have a greater potential for the blissful, pleasure activated feeling of energy that's always flowing in our body, and for now are not receiving that optimally. So it's actually kind of an internal yoni massage. And this is possible with fingers, though I have found, and also other people have told me the same, that our fingers don't really get as deep. Mm-hmm. and cannot, like, our fingers get tired, A session like this could be 20 minutes where we're just like palpating and feeling and moving and like circling the crystal inside of us. Whew, I can go on about this.
And I can listen to you because it's so true. Like, as you're saying this to me, I could hear a voice coming because I'm obviously channeling. And I hear, oh, that's just so gross. And I'm just like, no, it's actually beautiful. You're giving yourself permission in a sacred way to love yourself more. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. So what do you do when you have those women are like resistance to doing this type of an exercise? Because there's obviously resistance in their life. There's resistance in their happiness. There's resistance in their money. So what would be their like first step to really harnessing that yoni power?
Yeah, this is a great question because I definitely work with women who come to me and say, oh my gosh, I'm so interested. Let's do it. They get the yoni wand in their hands and they don't use it. And it's like a month that I've given them homework, I've given them suggestions, they don't come to it. because there's an intrinsic realization of the power of this kind of activity. So when I see that happening, well, there's a lot of exercises that we do before we even begin using a crystal wand. There's a lot of exercises that are simply breathing into the yoni, collecting energy from the earth. So these are Taoist practices, tantric practices, and those lineages where we build our capacity. And a lot of resistance also comes from us thinking of this in a different way than, well, I'm just going to fuck myself and come, right? Because that's simple. We get that. That's kind of how society has put it. And now I'm going like, well, no, wait, find the places that are not into that. So that's resistance too. I think I lost the strand of the question. Tell me the question again.
Okay, because I think you answered it. It was just a matter of women that resist the wand and really embracing their sacredness. And as you're talking, and it's so funny because we're so programmed that we need to come. And if we don't come, it's bad, or something's wrong with us, or maybe our partner is not giving us what we need. But it really comes down to us, doesn't it?
For sure. In so many ways, right? It comes down to us to say that, hey, it's okay if I don't come. Hey, it's okay if I don't even do anything other than sit with my hands over my pussy for 30 seconds. So it's really taking it so far out of, it's taking it like so to the beginning. It's taking it to the beginning like you're a child exploring your body again. Before you even knew that you could come, what would you do? Oh, maybe you just put your hands there and be like, oh, I feel the little hairs, and here's the inner labia and the outer labia, and just giving yourself a little massage and just being with it. And taking it all the way up to then eventually building that orgasmic potential, building up the muscles in the pussy through the use of the yoni wand and the yoni egg. There's like a recommitment that happens to that organ of our body, versus the decades, really often decades, where we weren't really so committed to it. I mean, our fingers, our hands, we're pretty committed to them because we use them every single day. If our hand became kind of like numb or like half numb, it'd freak us out because we'd realize that we couldn't do half the things we do. And then all of a sudden, when our pussy doesn't feel as much as it did, at some point or never has, we kind of don't give it a thought. There's this normalization of, there was a really good sentence I heard the other day, like a normalization of dysfunction.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's normal if you just like kind of enjoy sex and you don't really come so often. It's normal for like women come to me and they're like, I've never really looked at my yoni. I've never really touched it. I don't really I just ignored it and I'm ready to start again.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to say that the reason, again, like the way that I look at this is big picture. It's wonderful to reconnect with our sensual energy, our pussy, our yoni. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is that I see it awakens a person's essence. All of a sudden, they've awakened this part of themselves that they've kind of pushed away and said, well, I'll just do without that, or I'll just do with that at 50 or 40 or 2% in my life. Now, when they come to it and reawaken it, all of a sudden there's this, oh, I get to have pleasure. I get to give myself time. I get to speak my needs. I get to just enjoy myself. And you can just see how many areas of life that translates to. There's confidence, there's juiciness, there's an aura that people just flock to. This isn't about being outwardly sexual out in public. There's just an aura that begins to glow of someone being peaceful, satisfied within themselves, not needing anything because they've sourced it all from an energetic space. This directly relates for entrepreneurial women who are shy about speaking their message and they're like, wow, what will people think? How can I do it? All of a sudden, a couple orgasms in, people are saying, oh, I'm just going to talk about this. I'm just going to go live. It's going to be great. I'm going to name my prices. Let's do this.
Yeah. And that's what it is. I find that when you connect with your yoni, it's like you're connecting with so many parts of you that were in limbo or stuck or stagnant. And once you have that connection, and you could say, you know what, I think I'm going to go enjoy myself for a minute because I don't really need anyone to bring pleasure to me. Pleasure is all within me. Don't we all say that? Like, that's something the spiritual, whatever you're looking for is inside of you, right? And it's not about the exertion of, you know, wanting other people to give it to you because you are fully complete, but someone wants to be part of that. So it feels like your love life even enhances, and so many other parts of you enhance because of that. So women, if you're having issues in your relationship, fire up your yoni. Like, seriously, I say this with complete love, even though I can imagine some of my family members are going to listen to this. They already know that I have like this whole sex thing. I talk to my cousins about sex all the time, and they're like, what the hell? I'm like, don't be shy. It's natural. It's a natural feeling to want to feel sensual. It's a natural feeling to feel confident and be in that knowingness. So, oh man, I could talk to you all day about this. So when they activate that, because the yoni is the sacral chakra, so when they're activating that, their kundalini starts firing up. What changes have you seen in women?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, the people pleaser really diminishes or, you know, comes to rest, because there is, okay, so really the change is that, oh my gosh, it's like beyond words. I'm just trying to bring it into
I know,
a couple of pieces right now. Well, first of all, you can see it on a person. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden I'm seeing my clients who are entrepreneurs, and all of a sudden I'm seeing them showing up in the social media space and the content that they're creating, and their photos are much more, you know, I can see more of their face in their photos. It's not like a shy photo. Their content is more, this is me, this is what I'm doing, let's rock this. Like, there's an energy of self-confidence, of groundedness, of peace. So sometimes I'll see a woman come to me and I see that she's wearing many masks, in the sense that she feels that she can't be accepted for who she truly is, right? And I'll just get that from the first moments of seeing someone. And then we start to work on this with the mindset, the clearing the beliefs, the yoni homework. And it's like the armor dissolves. Yeah. And you get to start being you. And if, you know, a family member or someone says, oh my gosh, I don't know what you're doing, it doesn't make sense, who are you? Like, it's okay. There's a forgiveness that comes in from the work that we do together. There's a calm energy, but like a calm feisty, you know, if you can combine calm and feisty. It's beautiful. It's like a person just wakes up and there's like, oh, here I am. This is me, and it's okay. And yes.
Yeah, it's so funny because I've activated a few women's yonis, and when I do like hands-on work and stuff like that, and they would call me and be like, what'd you do to me? I can't stop thinking about sex. I can't stop masturbating. I'm ready to find a new lover. My business has exploded. I'm just like, girl, your pussy is speaking to you. Like, embrace in that beauty, because now they're standing with their back straight, shoulders back, chest out. And it's like, you know, I always say to myself, damn, I assisted in that, because I love working with Aphrodite and Cleopatra. I, to be honest with you, when I'm working, I'm channeling. So I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. So listening to you speak, I get into a daze and they're like, that's what you're doing, you know? And I'm just like, oh, that's beautiful. I'm glad I was doing that, because there's no words, like, as you say, when you do this kind of work with people, it's just so, it's speechless, just like the way you are. Like, you're just a speechless being that's just, I feel like firing up from underneath you. And that is just, it's glorifying. It's glorifying to be able to connect with the love of who you are, whichever way you are, showing up the way you are, and not really caring what anyone says. Mm-hmm. And when you get into that state, it's like, you know what? I feel good about myself. I don't have to please anyone. That's why I love when you said the people pleasing is gone. Because don't you find it's getting better and better, but don't you find everybody wants to please others but not themselves most of the time?
For sure. And these are the societal programs. This is the collective consciousness. I rarely speak now to people who don't understand or already deeply desire to live that it's a divine selfishness. So even the word selfish can be taken really with kind of a bad tone in society at large, right? It's like, oh, well, to take time for yourself, that means you're not giving to somebody else while you're taking time for yourself. It's selfish to take time for yourself. So I think many of your audience and many of the people that I speak to really understand innately that it's so valuable to take time for yourself. And then comes the point where it's just uncomfortable to lay on the couch, do nothing, really, literally, you know, not read a book, not be on your phone, literally just look at the clouds out the window for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know, this is the homework for the listeners. It's like, go set a timer. Let's start with 7 minutes. Go set a timer, lay on the couch for 7 minutes, do nothing. Not even napping, because even that's doing something. Hey, I'm busy, I'm napping, don't talk to me, you know? Yeah. And even trying to do it in the presence of your family and just see what kind of emotions come up, and maybe people will start to be like, hey, what are you doing? Why don't you get up and get moving and do something useful? So all of these programs, we get to just untangle this by going through the body into the somatic wires, into the somatic memory of tensing up when something happens, of tensing up because we can't get our needs met, of tensing up because it's unsafe to be who we truly are and live life on our own terms. And that's a way that we go through the body. And then we also go through the mindset and through energetic healing, and all of that combines into really melting the layers.
So beautiful. Oh my God, we could talk all day. So we're near the end of the show, but I have this question that keeps on coming to me, and I forgot it the first time, but they said it again. They said, don't forget to ask about Kegels. Women, I find Kegels are an activator. Like when you forget that there's something going on down there, start doing Kegels. Tell me what you feel about Kegels and how women could kind of get through that part.
Yeah, so that's really interesting because so let's just talk purely physically for a moment. Physically, Kegels may not be fully enough to experience a strengthening and a toning of the vaginal muscles. So what I would recommend is getting into the Yoni egg teachings. And that's where, again, like a jade egg is inserted, like fully inserted into the vaginal canal. And you know, what we could call Kegels are done with the egg inside. So there is kind of, not like a resistance, but there's something that the muscles are like playing with and feeling and moving around. And so there's a lot more to be said about that. That said, that kind of muscle exercise physically, I find to be more effective for, let's say, incontinence after childbirth, or prolapse, or really toning the vaginal muscles of someone who isn't experiencing any challenges specifically and just wants more toning. Then, okay, so physically it's like that in my experience. And then emotionally, energetically, I would say Kegels are wonderful because it gets our consciousness down into that location. It brings our consciousness there. It does create blood flow. So the way that I love to do Kegels, and even if I'm driving, I'll do this, is put my hand onto my pussy. So, and I usually don't wear underwear. I usually wear a dress or a skirt with no underwear. So it's really easy for me to get. That's my girl. Yeah. Skin on skin contact between myself. And then I'll just do a couple pulses and I'll actually feel, and just with no real intention, but just to enjoy the sensation of, oh yeah, my muscles are moving. And so there's two layers to it. It depends on what a person wants. If you're just out and about your day and you kind of want to wake up your energy, yeah, do a couple pulses and like breathe that energy up to the heart, breathe that energy up to the throat and the third eye and the crown. And that's where it gets really interesting, where we're pulsing and cultivating the energy there. And we're not always keeping it as like this sensual energy that's just right there at the root. We're moving it through our whole body. We're nourishing ourselves, our entire being. We're like, do that before you go into a meeting or into a sales call, or if you're standing in line at the grocery store and you're just like, oh, I can't be here, I don't want to be here. Oh, well, let's just do this. The whole energy changes.
I love that. I used to walk and do Kegels, and Even I can imagine how many people are doing Kegels listening us to talk about Kegels.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you tell the women that have resistance to the whole divine Yoni and they're receiving a financial abundance? What is that one tidbit that your wise self would tell these women?
So can you be more clear with me, like women who have resistance to accepting that this is a divine energy, or to women that kind of, can you just flesh that out a bit more?
Just women that have resistance in receiving, basically.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say that, oh gosh, I could go into a whole nother thing here. Basically, to understand that both money and sensual relationships involve another. So in a financial transaction and in a sensual relationship, we trust another human being to meet us in a fair and just way. And usually sexuality and finances are also places where we've seen many examples where humans have not honored a fair and just exchange and have taken advantage of one another. Archetypally, finances and sexuality are in the same place in astrology. Archetypally, they're in one under one archetype. So what I would say is start with yourself. Start to just open the yoni throughout the day. So versus feeling it tight, feel in and actually like bloom it open a tiny bit. And just feel into the natural abundance of this life. The fact that you're even alive is already a factor of abundance. So just open that channel and keep on checking in, and check in how often it is that you're tight and pulling up, and then just relax it. And that starts the flow of receiving within yourself. It opens up your trust to life. And then there's, more that you could do to address the finances and abundance of it. But just remember that in this sense, you don't always need another human being to have a sacred relationship with you. Sensuality can be accessed just on your own. You are your own best lover, and it doesn't have to be about sexual orgasmic energy. It starts with just attending and paying attention to, am I tight? Okay, I'm going to open and relax. And that's where it begins.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. What would you say to the embarrassed woman that wants to go there, but she's too embarrassed to even talk about it? That's coming to, I got to breathe through that one. Because a lot of women are embarrassed to speak about sex. So what would you tell that woman?
Don't speak about it yet. Put your hands on your pussy when you're in the shower, or before you're going to bed, or when you're in a private place where you feel safe, and ask your yoni. Direct that question to your pussy and say, figure out a question that works for you. Something like, how can I accept you deeper? How can I accept this part of me deeper? And then just listen with your intuitive, imaginal self. Maybe you're imagining an answer. Maybe you think that you're imagining it, but that's okay too. So just start to interact with it. You don't need to speak about it yet. This doesn't need to be an outward expression of your life. This is about you and your body that you're living in, and you just accepting that you even have such a body part that has been shamed, that has been traumatized, that has been, told, don't touch it, don't put your hands there, forget about it, close your legs. How many of us have heard that over and over again in our childhood? So just coming back and saying, oh, here we are. I have a pussy. Whatever it is that you have between your legs, just that concept, between your legs, right? Even that is, oof. Just be with yourself. Just be with yourself. Put your hands there and see what happens.
I love that. I really do love that, because we feel like we always have to be outward, but it's really about being inwards. Okay, final question, because it's really coming down and I don't want to forget it. But what is one thing that Mrs. Anna tells her younger self?
Be your full true self. You've got it.
Yeah, you got it, baby. Oh my God. Thank you so much for being on Unfuck Your Mind. Seriously, I know you've untangled so many minds. It's like I feel this lightness coming through, because when we speak about the whole sexual thing, I just feel as a collective, because I'm open up to feeling the universe's energies as I'm doing these interviews, I felt such a tightness just in my sacral and my solar plexus, and I was just like, Okay, this needs to clear up. So breathing through this, but thank you so much for your work. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much just for showing up and helping women tap into that, because it's really important. So for the listeners out there that want to get a hold of Anna, look at the show notes. All her social handles are on there. Her website's on there. Get in touch with your yoni. Start loving yourself, because the person that you are seeking will know what you want and actually magnify what you desire 10 times more. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.